It's time, trainers. Charlie Merriman here, merry by name, merry by nature. Ben, you feeling merry still?
I'm feeling merry. I'm also feeling cuckoo, apparently, by the end of this mid-season showdown. We're going to stick with it for at least today and tomorrow. We'll come back to you and see whether or not it sticks around for later on. But regardless, here we are at the finals of this Lanaken mid-season showdown, and what a day it has been. We've had lots of trainers. We've been able to see all of the top 8 cut throughout the tournament on this stream already. We've had some fantastic matches. We've had some excellent teams. We've had, well, really not what I was expecting coming into this event. Seeing what's made it to the finals.
Yeah.
If you've been on X just a moment ago, we have a Gallade mirror in the finals. Joshua versus Jost, and this is going to be really something to behold.
It's going to be phenomenal. We were able to feature Jost in our top 8 match, Joshua in our top 4, and here they are in the finals. They're ready to go. Beware's looking a little bit worse for wear. Maybe he's a little bit sleepy right now. Worse for Beware, just falling down in between those screens. But it's going to have to start looking lively as we get into these finals. Look at these teams that we've got here. So, Joshua, as you mentioned, we've got a Gallade mirror going on here, but otherwise, some different things going on. Yes, both teams have the Indeedee, but you've got a faster mode offered by the Hisuian Lilligant over on Joshua's side of the field. You've got the Sun that can be set up by Torkold to boost its speed even further, Hatterene, and then the Urshifu single strike style. Yost, that regular Ursaluna, not the Blood Moon one. Iron Crown that can benefit from Indeedee Psychic Terrain. Of course, Joshua's got to be careful about bringing their own Indeedee and setting up the Psychic Terrain for Yost Iron Crown too. And then Ogerpon Wellspring there as well. And Iron Moth, which has Power Herb and access to Meteor Beam. I'd love to see Iron Moth shine on stream now because we didn't really get to see it earlier.
We could see maybe the power of this Iron Moth coming out, both the Sun on Joshua's side of the field, but also the ability for it just to go for spread type moves. Now, that can be mitigated by the Wide Guard on either of these Gallades arsenals here, and that's going to be the really tricky bit of this matchup to navigate. You've got Wide Guard available. That means that expanding force is a little bit difficult from both the Iron Crown and the Hatterene on either side. You've got both of the Indeedees that have the capability of going for Trick Room as well as the Gallades. You've got one more source of Trick Room for Joshua than you have on your side of the field, but Yost has a little bit more of a well-rounded fast mode if that Trick Room doesn't get set up. But I mean, with 5 Pokemon out of the 12 that we have here, going to be able to set up Trick Room. I'd be surprised if we didn't see any of it in this set whatsoever.
I'd be surprised as well, but we've been seeing Trick Room mind games a lot today here in Lanaken, and that's certainly going on right now in the finals too. So it's always always dicey in the first couple of turns of the game, trying to work out the playstyle that your opponent is going to be going for, or whether if you set up Trick Room, your opponent will end up benefiting from it more. But there's only one way to get this information, and that is by getting into our game, and our trainers are there now. It's Indeedee and Gallade coming out for Joshua, and for Yost, it's going to be the Iron Crown and the Indeedee as well. Oh no, the Ogerpon at Wellspring, I believe.
Yeah, well, we're seeing the... there we go, we're getting into this game, and it's going to be the booster energy activating the Quark Guard, getting that Iron Crown special attack nice and boosted up. It's going to be able to go for expanding force, but against these two psychic type Pokemon that Joshua has brought into the lead and the threat of the Wide Guard, I wouldn't be surprised to see Yost really going for the damaging moves like Tachyon Cutter, getting the Ivy Cudgel. And once you knock out the Indeedee, that's been really, I think, the story of this tournament, where Gallade has been doing so much work, but it's always had the support of the Indeedee. And if you can knock that out really early, then it's really much more difficult to protect that Gallade.
Well, protecting is exactly what Gallade's going to be doing this turn, going for that Wide Guard, protecting against any expanding forces coming out from the Iron Crown, but that is indeed Tachyon Cutter coming out into the Indeedee, going to be taking it down. So already on turn 1, that is redirection and other support for Joshua down and out.
One turn down, one Pokemon down here in our finals, as that Indeedee does indeed go back to its trainer. And now Gallade has opted to go for the Wide Guard. Joshua hasn't got any offensive presence out on the field and lost a major support piece. Now he's able, though, to pivot in that Shifu, and we've seen how bulky that has been in the previous matches that we've been able to feature Joshua on. It will probably be able to quite easily take a Tachyon Cutter, but the difficulty is, especially when it's carrying a choice band, Jost really has to target down into that slot if he doesn't want to take a super powered wicked blow or close combat to either of his Pokemon, and so you're kind of leaving that Gallade alone yet again. If it goes for a Trick Room and maybe there's a Torkoal in the back for Joshua, that could spell a real big momentum swing in the sort of later stages of this game.
Well, what's the momentum going to be now? It's going to be the Terror coming out over onto one of the sides of the field, going into Iron Crown. That's going to become the Terror Water type, switching up its weaknesses in the face of, for example, the Urshifu over on Joshua's side of the field. And responding with an Ivy Cudgel from the Ogerpon, connecting down into the Glade with a critical hit. Enough for the one-hit knockout. No trainer wants to see that on their own side. That is Gallade down and out, the Pokemon that has been so prevalent for Joshua in the semi-finals that we featured just beforehand. That's a huge momentum swing in favor of Jost. Urshifu being able to take that Tachyon Cutter, a much bulkier built Urshifu here. Close combat connecting down with the choice band, able to pick up the knockout onto the Ogerpon. So it is a knockout apiece here, but Gallade, the star of the previous game, down and out already. Is that going to spell doom for Joshua?
It certainly could, and especially with this Torkoal in the back for Joshua coming in, that's going to be very susceptible to an expanding force. But there he is, Charlie. I can see you celebrating there. The Iron Moth coming out into the fray. It's the first time we've really been able to see it coming out. Now, that Terra Water onto the Iron Crown, maybe not doing the Iron Moth any favors because it can't go for the fully accurate Sludge Wave here. Instead, has to opt for its less accurate either Heat Wave or Meteor Beam to try and knock out this Urshifu, while the Iron Crown goes for the Expanding Force to knock out the Torkoal. You can maybe do it slightly different order. You could maybe use the Tachyon Cutter to just guarantee the KO onto the Urshifu, knowing that while you're Terra Water, your Iron Crown is probably not going to go down to the Torkoal. But either way, Joshua, knowing that the writing is on the wall there, deciding to forfeit that first game. Jost takes the early lead, but it's not over yet, trainers. Game 2 and potentially Game 3 are coming up.
And that was so bittersweet. The Iron Moth hits the field, but then the battle's forfeited. We don't get to see it get up to its antics.
Let me ask you though, Charlie, if an Iron Moth came onto the field opposing you, would you want to be standing in front of it?
No, that's fair enough. Yeah, it's, I mean, we're heading into the Premier Challenge later, and I will be running a different kind of moth, the Frost Moth. But Iron Moth, that more technical, pretty threatening variant. Yeah, maybe not. You've said that a lot today, Ben. Let me ask you, I want to know. Yeah, I like this directness. I can't always provide the answers for you there, Ben. But
I do want to know, though. I'm going to keep asking. I'm going to keep asking.
Good. And what we certainly want to know is how Game 2 is going to go down between these trainers. Joshua takes some valuable time to reflect. Now, no one wants to be given the note, don't let your Gallade go down to a critical hit. But that was, unfortunately, a crucial element as to why the momentum swung in Jost's favour in that game. Of course, the Ivy Cudgel does have a heightened critical hit chance, and the Gallade was not able to stand up to it in that situation. So heading into this game, did we see a Trick Room? We didn't. Did we not? We didn't see a Trick Room go up in that game? I thought we did, actually, earlier on in the game. No, perhaps we didn't. So didn't happen in that game, but it might do in Game 2. The mind games are still very much real there. And how do you think, Ben, that Joshua can adapt heading into Game 2?
I want to see the Hisuian Lilligant. That's what I want to be seeing coming into this Game 2. The fact that it's carrying the Focus Sash gives Joshua, I think, that little bit of freedom that he needs to maybe close combat into an Ogerpon to take away any redirection and go for potentially the just after you eruption as well, of course, in the face of the after you gets redirected as well. So
of course,
that doesn't quite work out. But either way, you can I think play around with that a little bit. The Ogerpon, I think, is a direct from Jost response that we saw in the leading Game 1 to the threat of Hisuian Lilligant. But I feel like it's one of those things that would change up the momentum of this game, because clearly having the Gallade and the Indeedee in turn 1, you can make totally different decisions, and the game unfolds a completely different way, but it's still a little bit tricky, especially in front of that Iron Crown that you're naturally increasing the power of with your Psychic Terrain.
Tricky is certainly the word of the moment, as we've got the Indeedee and Gallade that can be setting up Trick Room in this matchup, and who is it going to benefit most as the booster energy activates on the Iron Crown, getting that special attack nice and up. Indeedee and Gallade, a classic lead that we've seen Joshua go for before. How is Joshua going to adapt to try and turn the momentum in their own favour? You can see hovering over the Terra Fire there, but then of course you're much more vulnerable. Something that could be coming out from the Ogerpon over on Yost's side of the field.
Yeah.
Expanding Force would be dealing resisted damage into the Indeedee, but of course neutral into the Gallade, being part Psychic, part fighting. It's going to be Ogerpon leaving the field.
Ogerpon switching on out of there. Ursaluna coming in and a reaction to the idea that Joshua wants to set up Trick Room much more in this game. It didn't go up in game 1. Now it needs to go up in game 2 for Joshua to have a really good opportunity here. Joshua's Gallade going for the Terra Fire, making sure it's maybe taking resisted damage from a Tachyon Cutter, but then you're following me away any damage. And here it is, the Expanding Force coming out, not enough to pick up the KO on either the Indeedee nor the Gallade. Nice little critical hit on Indeedee just for good measure there, and the Trick Room does go up. But you were talking about it earlier, Charlie. Who does that benefit more? Well, I'm definitely looking at the Ursaluna. It's feeling probably pretty happy to be in Trick Room right now.
Yeah, not just the Ursaluna, but the fact that the Gallade has gone for the Terra Fire, and now it's so much weaker to what the Ursaluna can throw out. Yes, of course, the Gallade is on such low health anyway, but if that's the Terra option down and out for Joshua already, that's really, really difficult. Already a game down in our finals of the Lanaken mid-season showdown. So, Trick Room now up. Ursaluna looks like it's in an absolutely fantastic position. How is Joshua going to be able to play around this threat? This could be spelling the end of the MSS here in Lanaken, but let's never doubt Joshua. Joshua has done so well to reach this stage of the competition.
Yeah, and he's definitely not down and out just yet. I mean, it's a difficult situation, but you've then got these mind games. Do you play the single target attacks and a full foul of the follow me? Or does the wide guard on the Gallade really take its shape in this position? It didn't work out in turn 1, game 1, but we're in a totally different situation here. Helping hand coming out from Indeedee. Joshua going all in here, but that helping hand is for naught as the facade goes into the Gallade. It's gonna be easily enough to pick up that knockout on Gallade. The star of the show going down yet again, and an Expanding Force finishing the job on Indeedee there, picking up the knockout single target extra damage coming out from that Iron Crown there. And it looks like Jost is in the driving seat, one step closer to taking those tasty, tasty championship points.
Absolutely delicious. But for now, Joshua has to be able to see out the rest of this game. Yes, that Indeedee sitting duck on the field, having gone for the helping hand into the Gallade. When your back's against the wall, sometimes you do just have to go all in, and it didn't pay out for Joshua in that scenario. Indeedee, of course, not known for its damage output, but Hatterene and Urshifu far more so, and the Urshifu carrying that choice band, it's a bulkier variant too, obviously going to be immune to those expanding forces. If there are 2 Pokemon that can turn this around for Joshua, it's these 2.
I'm wondering if the Hatterene has enough to be able to knock out the Ursaluna in 1. Yeah. If it does, with this Expanding Force, we're about to find out here, trainers.
The knockout, no, it's not. The Ursaluna's going to hang on. That could be huge. And the Life Orb chip as well. Facade going to connect into the Urshifu. Bulky as it is, it's not able to take that. Another one hit knockout. And it seems like Joshua's seeing the writings on the wall.
He has indeed. Tachyon Cutter going to be the follow-up from the Iron Crown. 1 hit and 2 hits into this Hatterene. It's going to be enough to wrap up the set. Jost is going to take this finals 2-0, and we're seeing applause in the crowd here. They all know it, and Jost, our worthy winner of the Lanaken Saturday MSS.
Just providing the victory music there for you trainers to give Jost that little bit more of a fanfare. Huge congratulations, such a cool team. So that means that the winning team of our Saturday MSS here in Lanaken, Gallade, Indeedee, Iron Moth, Ogerpon, Wellspring, Ursaluna, Original, let's say, and Iron Crown. Such a cool team, and again, we're at the tail end of Regulation Set F, and that means that these trainers can just throw anything at the wall and see what sticks. Have a little bit of fun before Regulation Set G gets going.
Iron Moth.
Yeah.
Iron Moth champion. 50 whole championship points that it walked away. Not Jost. Jost has walked away with the championship points, technically, but we're going to say the moral victory is going to that Iron Moth. And I'd love to be in the sort of fly on the wall looking at the rest of the moth on the wall, looking at the rest of Jost's team matches where maybe the Iron Moth was a little bit more relevant than those we saw on the broadcast, because I really want to see that Iron Moth in action.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, Jost, really making a name for themselves already, but hopefully we'll be able to see in a future tournament that Iron Moth come to the fray. Iron Moth, Iron Jost, piloting that team so well today in Lanaken, and I am thrilled for Jost there. And Joshua playing so well in our semi-finals match that we were able to feature. But the Gallade Mirror, who'd have thought we'd have seen that today if you told me before we came in? I wouldn't have not believed it, but it's just so cool to see the team building coming out here in force in Lanaken.
And of course, seeing the journey that these trainers have gone on, we saw Jost just playing so well, and just the use of that Gallade. It's not just the fact that Gallade was a really cool pick. We've seen it go on the field, and it's been able to take knockouts that we weren't necessarily, well, I wasn't necessarily expecting. I'm not gonna put words in your mouth there, Charlie, but it was doing more than I was expecting it to do. But also defensively, taking damage dealing moves, big damage dealing moves, and surviving on just a few hit points to be able to go for those big attacks as well. I think it's done a good amount of everything in this event, and it's really nice to see.
Yeah, Jost jousting through all the way to the win with that absolutely fascinating team. And a player who earlier on in the day had that 3-2 record. So, just goes to show that you've just got to keep fighting through, and the matches, if you keep your mental state present, then hopefully those matches are going to be going your way. A lesson in not getting tilted as you're playing this game.
Absolutely, and we're going to take a very quick break to get Jost up here and have a little bit of a chat to him and see how his experience of this MSS has been, and maybe talk a little bit more about his team and the matchups that he's played along today. So don't go anywhere, trainers. We'll be back in just a few seconds. Well, trainers, we're here with our winner of the Lanaken MSS, Jost. Congratulations, first off, for winning and giving us some really exciting matches. Tell us how you're feeling about this so far.
I'm feeling great. I've never won any tournament whatsoever. I've got 5 PC second place finishes, and I've never won not even a local. So I'm feeling great.
5 second places. It was bound to be converted into a win at some point, and you're able to do it today. Tell us about your team. What your thought process was behind the team?
Exactly. I kind of copied a team from, I think it was Vancouver or Knoxville regionals. Got top 8. He was on top takes. I'm so sorry for not knowing your name. It's the exact same 6 Pokemon, and
I think it's Brandon something.
Probably, I think so. Anyway, I copied the Pokemon and the moves. Not a single thing on there has changed, I think. But I changed Pokemons are trained in a bit. Made some Pokemons faster. And changed 2 Terra types, I believe. And an item, of course. The Rocky Helmet on Indeedee has helped me out a lot today, especially against all the Focus Sashes. Sturdy, I played against Ogerpan Rock twice, I believe.
Yeah.
So
there's been a lot. There's been a lot.
Yeah. I think you might have even seen that on the match against Luca in top.
Right.
No, that was round 5. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Brandon Davis, I think is the name. I think it might be that. Something like that. Anyway.
This is the infamous Iron Moth knocking out the Terragrass Gallade, I believe, if my memory serves. But that was you didn't fall foul of that this tournament.
I sludge weighted myself once today, but it was when it was Terrat with the Ogre Pawn, so
I see.
Kind of
Okay,
similar.
because this is something I wanted to know about. We've been talking about the Iron Moth all day. It came onto the field, and then your opponent forfeited. We didn't get to see it in action. But like, okay, just for the people at home that maybe haven't used Iron Moth as much in this format, just tell us a little bit about your experience with it.
So you have to protect it. It's not that defensive. So meteor +1, and then get +1. And have white guard. You can just some opponents with it just goes that fast. You some hard predictions like predict when your opponent's gonna hit you. You have to know when to bring it. If your opponent has a flutter or roaring move, or usually faster, I don't bring it. But if they have these balance kind of teams where they have middling speed stats.
Yeah, absolutely. Clear Amulet Gallade as well. It seems to be. We've seen a couple of them today, and it's been so powerful. How's that been the most valuable Pokemon for you today?
Probably so, yeah. I was astonished by one-shotted a Helping Hand, Sacred Sword, one-shot Peridurap, so they couldn't set up Brick Room. And against basically anything you do, minimum 50%.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, huge damage, absolutely. So, Jost, congratulations on this win. How's your season looking?
I'm at 397 CP.
Oh, okay.
3 more to go. If I finish first in the PC, coming right up, I can actually go to Hawaii today. So it's Kucha, who got his Hawaii invite, and Alex, who also got his Hawaii invite. If I were to get it, that would be just a perfect day.
Fingers crossed.
In the last vestiges of Regulation Set F, still people are getting their invitations to the World Championships, and that's just really nice to see. So, any other tournament you're playing later in the season, are you able to compete in Stockholm, Bologna, or is this the local scene where you're going to be getting your championship point invite?
To Bologna, but as many I unfortunately couldn't. I actually didn't get to register the first time at all. I didn't know they had opened. So I wasn't able to register there. I would have gone just to be sure I can get my Hawaii invite, but then for me.
Perfect.
Yeah, what a nice event to have themselves. Well, yes, again, huge congratulations to you. Any shout-outs you want to give?
Shout out to all the Germans who made it here with me today, to Kucha, Alex. I think Dennis Aborik is also here. Luca, it's just been a lot of fun to travel here with them, to talk about Pokemon, but also just enjoy some time in Belgium and the Netherlands. Well, we're going to Maastricht probably. So.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really good to be traveling around with friends. World Trainers, we have had a fantastic day. once again, of course, Jost, to be making it to the finals, taking it all the way, getting your first tournament win, of course, the first, hopefully for you, of many going forward. But I think we're going to have to wrap it up because there's lots of trainers here that are going to be waiting to play the Premier Challenge, not least all of us.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're going to be playing. We're going to be playing.
I do not want to go up against you. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. Take it as a compliment.
Thank you very much.
But we're going to have to wrap things up here, traders. So I hope you've enjoyed coming along with us. We've enjoyed every moment of it, but we'll be back tomorrow, of course, as well. There is another mid-season showdown, another Premier Challenge to compete in as well for all of our trainers attending. So thank you to everyone here, of course, for putting this on, for Shmon as well. Massive congratulations for everything that you've achieved for the community, and we're going to be wrapping it up there. So we will hopefully see you tomorrow as well.